Hi, I'm Willa Kaiser. I'm the director of the Caduceus Institute of Classical Homeopathy. And today I would like to share with you some of our top homeopathic remedies for children. You can do so much with homeopathy with just a few remedies, and these are the top remedies that every mom should have around the house. The first remedy is aconite. We're going to be discussing what we call the ABCs of the nursery, which are aconite, belladonna, and chamomilla. And so aconite is the first of these remedies. Aconite is known for being a remedy that helps with conditions that have a very sudden onset, such as a sudden high fever, and especially if it comes on at night or if it comes on after a fright or being out in a dry, cold wind. So if a child has been out playing outside where there's a cold wind and that night he or she develops a high fever, maybe croup, could be an ear infection. Many different kinds of ailments are addressed by aconite, but the important thing with aconite is usually there is a sudden high fever that may have come on from a dry, cold wind or a fright. One cheek might be red with the other pale. When you see a child that has red on one side and pale on the other, you could think of aconite, although chamomilla, which we're going to discuss in a moment, also has that symptom. There may be a great thirst for cold drinks and any kind of croup, especially the early stages of croup. Aconite is often helpful. Fear is often involved as well, and certainly when a child has croup, it can feel very scary to have problems breathing and having that dry cough. The next remedy that we'll be discussing here is belladonna. And belladonna is another remedy that addresses high fever. Often the belladonna fever will be worse around 3 in the afternoon or started around late morning, around 11 a.m., and then get worse around 3 p.m. And when a child needs belladonna, they may have a very red face, or if it's an ear infection, the ear may turn very red. The pupils may be very dilated, and really the keynote for belladonna is there may be a lot of heat in the area that's involved. Whether it's a red ear or the face being flushed. So if you see a lot of redness and high fever, you could think about belladonna. The child might be craving lemonade or something like that, something a little bit sour when they're in a belladonna state. And there may be throbbing involved in the pain, so throbbing ear infection, or it also can be a sore throat or really affect many, many systems of the body. But children often can go into this belladonna state at the beginning of an acute infection. And the third of our ABCs of the nursery is chamomilla. And chamomilla is homeopathic chamomile, and it's known for helping children that are in a very irritable, angry state, such as when a child asks for something and then says, "No, I don't want that." And so they're being basically capricious, wanting something and then changing their mind about it and being extremely irritable, wanting to be carried, being inconsolable, and being in a very, very highly irritated state, demanding things and then not accepting them. So an incredible sensitivity to pain. This kind of state can come on during teething. As I mentioned before, it can also have the redness of one cheek with the pale side on the other. And often chamomilla children who need chamomilla are worse at 9 a.m. in the morning, or could be 9 to 10 p.m. at night. So this is a great remedy for ear infections, teething. As I mentioned, there may be some diarrhea involved during teething, and the stool may look like cut grass or spinach. So having a green stool, a baby who's teething and having kind of greenish diarrhea and being irritable. This is a kind of common situation where chamomilla can be useful. So that covers the three ABCs of the nursery: aconite, belladonna, and chamomilla. And the final remedy that we're going to discuss is pulsatilla. Even though it doesn't fit in with the ABCs, pulsatilla, the windflower, is another very common state in children. This is a child who is very clingy, very weepy, very needing of reassurance. The child who's saying, "Mommy, you love me, Mommy?" So a child that's in this state can have very, very changeable emotions, being happy one minute and crying the next, but in general, in a kind of timid, shy, teary mood that children often need pulsatilla. And the children who need this remedy also like to be hugged and held and consoled. They're really looking for that reassurance. They may feel better when they are outside in open air or in gentle breezes, and do worse in stuffy rooms. And so generally also the cool, crisp weather of autumn can be helpful as well. Children who need pulsatilla may get tummy aches from eating food that is too rich, and there may even be, cold symptoms. It's a good remedy during cold symptoms, especially if there's kind of a bland or greenish nasal discharge. It is another remedy for ear infection. In fact, all the remedies we've talked about here can be helpful in ear infection, but we want to look at the whole child to see which one might be best for them. So those are some of the remedies, 4 of the remedies that are very useful for babies and children. Hope you find that information helpful, and we'll see you next time.